I've made many mistakes on my journey when it comes to training, nutrition, and recovery. Some worse than others, I came to realize, but in my defense, when I started lifting 12 years ago, the fitness YouTube was barely scratching the surface and the information was just very limited. In this video, we'll tackle the 5 worst mistakes that I've done with my nutrition that have delayed my weight gain and overall progress for longer than I would have wanted, so you can avoid them and get buff faster than I did. Mistake number 1, just eyeballing my portions and eating in function of hunger and not need. To gain weight and promote the biggest muscle growth, you need to be in a calorie surplus. Unless you're going through puberty or are just a fatty who likes sweets a little bit too much. Going in a surplus of calories is not a natural thing to do. Your body has no intention in becoming bigger if you're past your growth period already. So it's never going to give you the extra signals to eat more. I was stuck in this period for my first 2 years. Bear in mind I was also 14 back then and had to eat what my mom was making, but regardless, I still could have had more control over it. And by control, I mean actually calculating my calories and macros for once and having a target. Nutrition is going to dictate how much you grow before training hard will, so please save yourself the frustration and calculate your target. You find your maintenance of calories with any calorie calculator online. They'll need your height, weight, gender, age, and activity level roughly. Once you find out your maintenance, you add an extra 10% on top of it. This 10% will put you in the range of a lean bulk, meaning you will maximize the window of building muscle while minimizing the fat gain. Anything more than 10% and yeah, you will get bigger, but by getting fatter only. Once you have your calories sorted, you need to calculate your protein intake. This should be in between 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight or 0.7 to 1 gram per pound. I've always aimed for the higher number personally, as protein can be used as energy if your body has excess of it, but this way you at least know you've consumed everything that was needed. 1 gram of protein has 4 calories, so once you find out your protein intake, multiply it by 4 so you know how many calories you have left for fats and carbs. Second thing you need to calculate are fats. Fats and protein are the most important macronutrients. That's why you have essential amino acids and essential fatty acids but no essential carbs. For fats, my minimum recommendation is at 25% of your total calories, but they can be a lot more. If you do not have enough fat content in your diet, you are just not going to be able to absorb protein and some vitamins with maximum efficiency. So you need to go back to your total calorie intake, find out what 25% out of that is, then divide it by 9 to find out how many grams of fat you need. Unlike protein and carbohydrates, 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. Carbs, although very important for energy production, they are the middle child of nutrition, so they get what's left. Now all you have to do is subtract from the total of calories the protein and the fats, and what's left divide by 4 to find out your carb intake in grams. Next, you make sure you track down and aim for all those numbers. If you do this, trust me, you will see results faster than ever. Mistake number 2 is a continuation of mistake number 1, but now it's in terms of adjustments. When I finally calculated my macros for the first time, I thought I was sweet, done deal, but then I was plateauing every 2 months for another 2 months. I understood that when you play with such fine numbers as the 10% surplus, the weight gain gets covered quite quickly, so what used to be your surplus becomes your new maintenance. My recommendation here is that with every 5 kilograms gained, you need to rework your numbers and put yourself back on a 10% surplus accordingly. If you've been training for under 7 years and you are plateauing, it's not a genetics problem, it's more likely a knowledge and application one. If you stay on top of your game, you will grow. Mistake number 3, well, remember when I said I was plateauing every 2 months for 2 months? Yeah, back then I wasn't that intelligent to think that I need to rework my numbers every 5 kilograms and do it in a smart, controlled way. No, I just did what everyone on YouTube was promoting back then and went on a very dirty bulk out of frustration for not being able to gain weight. Dirty bulking is basically eating mainly junk food or very high calorie dense foods, which also 9 out of 10 times lack severely in nutrients. Will you gain weight with this approach? Absolutely, but it's not the weight you want, and ultimately you will have to cut severely afterwards to counterbalance it. Not to say that during this process you'll probably crash your insulin sensitivity due to all the processed food you're eating, meaning your body will assimilate carbs less efficiently, making your next cut a lot more difficult. Also cause inflammation that will most likely have an effect on your overall athletic performance and recovery. Dirty bulking will just put an immense unnecessary stress on your body for some mid results, and out of all the mistakes that I've done with my nutrition, this is probably the one that I regret the most, because I remember how much it took to repair it. Mistake number 4, meal timing. I used to be obsessed to eat every 3 hours and have this exact number of protein per meal, because back then it was thought that you could only absorb 20 grams per hour and 40 grams per meal or something like that. Bear in mind, this has recently been proven wrong, and you can consume even 100 grams per sitting and absorb them just fine. And to be honest, this should have been obvious anyway, because us as a species wouldn't have evolved all the way to today if we had to eat every 2 hours. But that's beside the point. Meal timing is irrelevant, same as the number of meals. As long as your calories and macros are hit by the end of the day, it just doesn't matter. That's why something like intermittent fasting works as well. But I will say this, when I used to be in that stage when I was super skinny with a low appetite, setting alarms every 3 to 4 hours to remind me to eat was what got me out of the pits. As an ectomorph, bulking is more difficult anyway. You will need to force feed yourself for a long time until your body gets used to it. Without that alarm, I would just simply forget to eat because my body would never be hungry. So for this reason alone, if you're in the same situation now as well, I would recommend setting reminders throughout the day to stuff your face with food. Yeah, it's not pleasant, but it's necessary. And mistake number 5, I was relying too much on supplements to fix my core issues. Remember, back then the supplement industry wasn't as developed as it is today. I remember drinking 2 mass gainer shakes every day hoping that this would help me, until you turned the bag around and find out that you're basically drinking expensive sugar for calories. Luckily, I didn't have money back then to waste on too many supplements, so at least that. But my core message here is that supplements are there to supplement and not to replace. A whole foods diet tracked properly will give you not only the best visual results, but will also make you feel super energized, help you sleep better, and even lift up your general mood. As you know what they say, the gut is the second brain. And it is true. Guys, those were the 5 biggest mistakes that I've done with my nutrition, so hopefully now you won't have to repeat them. For those interested in getting a daily nugget of wisdom for their fitness journey, my newsletter is linked down below. And if you want to accelerate your results in the gym and have me build you a custom workout plan, diet, have weekly check-ins with me, and 24/7 chat for support, you can start your 7-day free trial on my app via the second link. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks you're probably gonna like this one as well. And as always, boys, stay natty. I'll catch you on the next one.